Everyone knows that PJ Masks is a really popular franchise. And of course, once something becomes popular, everyone's gonna want a piece of that pie. So, in the early 2020s, we were flooded with PJ Masks rip-offs. First there was Spidey and His Amazing Friends, which is the most lazily written piece of garbage I've ever seen. Then there was Action Pack, a show that I really do not care for. Then there was Petronix Defenders, which is the dumbest name I've ever heard, and it's also a boring waste of time that tries desperately to be like Wild Kratts. But I'm sorry Petronix, but you'll never be as good as Wild Kratts. You wish you were as good as Wild Kratts. And then, there was Super Kitties, which, I guess is still kind of good, but Season 2 is a major drop in quality for the show, but that's for another video. So, when I heard the announcement of Kiya and the Kimoja heroes, you can imagine my low expectations for the show. But, after watching the full season, this show is not only the best of the PJ Masks clones, but it might just be one of the greatest Disney Junior shows ever made. Seriously, going in, I thought this would be the most generic thing ever, and, yeah, for the first few episodes, it kind of is, but as the season went on, it just got better and better. So, stop me if you've heard this before. This show is about a little girl named Kiya, and her two best friends, Motsi and Jay. When there's trouble in Kimoja City, it's up to our heroes to save the day. And while they fight crime, they learn valuable lessons along the way. Yeah, you definitely heard this before. Seriously, it's literally just like PJ Masks. But what makes this show stand out from the other rip-offs? Well, for one thing, they completely drop the secret identity story. Yeah, no joke. Everyone in Kimoja City, including the parents, know who the heroes are. And honestly, that's kind of refreshing. The secret identity plot is kind of getting old nowadays, so I'm glad they just ditched it altogether. And honestly, I'm just gonna come out and say it, the main heroes and villains of this show are a lot more interesting than the ones in PJ Masks. Because looking back, the main characters in PJ Masks, Catboy, Owlette and Gecko, are not that interesting. I mean, they can be great when paired with other characters, but on their own, what is there to say about them? Catboy likes speed, Owlette likes flossy flash. I guess, Gecko is the underdog. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And as for the villains, most of them don't really have a lot of depth to them. They're just there for the heroes to defeat. They work fine for the story, but that doesn't really make them interesting. But in this show, they made the heroes and villains feel like real people. Kiya is a kind and caring person, but she can also be impulsive at times. Motsi is a tomboy who has a temper and can get angry easily. And Jay is kind of an arrogant kid. These three feel like real kids with flaws that kids can relate to. Now, let's talk about the villains. First, we have Hattie Collider. She's basically just Romeo from PJ Masks. Yeah, she's literally just a female Romeo. She loves to invent stuff. She has a sidekick named Galactaslug, who she constantly bosses around. She's just Romeo. She's honestly my least favorite character of the show, but with that being said, she's fine. She works well enough, but she doesn't really have as much depth as the other two villains. Speaking of which, Primadonna is one of the brattiest cartoon characters I've ever seen. Seriously, when things don't go her way, she just uses her telekinesis powers to terrorize the city. This is what would happen if Caillou or Little Brown Bear got superpowers. But with that being said, I freaking love her. I don't know, I just really like bratty characters for some reason, they're just so much fun to hate. And finally, I saved the best villain for last. Acrobrat. I love that name so much. Like, you can't get any more perfect than this. Acrobrat's real name is Zane, and he acts like a normal kid. But when something doesn't go his way, just like Primadonna, he goes crazy and terrorizes the city. What's interesting about him is that unlike the heroes, Zane keeps his identity a secret from everyone, including Kiya. And I find that really interesting. I've always wanted to see an episode where Kiya somehow finds out that Zane is Acrobrat. How would she react to see that one of her friends is secretly her enemy? I especially love how realistic the dynamic is between the heroes and the villains. In any other superhero kid show, the villains would always be 100% in the wrong, and the heroes are 100% in the right. But in this show, they sometimes take a different approach. In the episode, Motsi and the Bush Babies, Motsi tries to protect some bush babies from harm, but then, Primadonna comes in and blasts loud music, scaring them off. Instead of trying to reason with her, she just attacks her. But in Motsi's defense, trying to reason with Primadonna is like trying to train the Red Death from How to Train Your Dragon. And I'm pretty sure she doesn't give a single crap about the bush babies. Sure, she saves it at the end, but it's pretty clear that she only did it to get praise, not because it's the right thing to do. I find it extremely unfair that this show only got one season, and yet all the other PJ Masks ripoffs got multiple seasons. Except for Petronic's Defenders, nobody gave a crap about that show. Action Pack got 2 seasons, Super Kitties got renewed for a 3rd season, and not only is Spidey and his amazing friends getting a 4th season, but it's also getting a spin-off called Iron Man and His Awesome Friends. Seriously, you should have seen my reaction when I heard about this, my jaw dropped like a cartoon character. In order to get a spin-off, you need to be really popular, like I'm talking SpongeBob levels of popular. But seriously, out of all the soulless, cash-grabbing copycats we've been getting in the past 3 years, how did this show become the least popular? Do kids just hate good writing? Or is it because Motsi and Jay have 2 moms? Yeah, I'm not kidding. This show has gay characters. First the Owl House, then Firebuds, then Peppa Pig, believe it or not, and now this. Wow, Disney really likes the LGBTQ community, don't they? I do hope we get more seasons of this show. I mean, there hasn't been an official announcement for a cancellation, so who knows? Maybe it'll come back. Overall, Kiya and the Kimoja Heroes is a great show. It surpassed all my expectations. It has great characters, great animation, excellent writing, and most importantly, it has creators who actually gave a crap about their work. It's such a shame that this show didn't get as popular as the other soulless crap. But I do hope we get more shows like it in the future. Anyways, that's it for this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what you think of the show in the comments. And until next time, party on.